Hello students, today I'll explain you the second part of 7th chapter, A House is Not a Home, from Moments Supplementary Book in English. This lesson is written by Zan Gaudioso. The next day, Monday, I went to school. When the fire broke out, I was still wearing the dress I had worn to church that morning, but I had no shoes. So, the next day he had to go to school. But when the fire was there, he was wearing only the dress that he had worn to the church that morning because it was a Sunday morning. He went to church with his mother. So, after the fire, he was having only that pair of clothes that he was wearing when he went to the church. And even he did not have his shoes at that time because he was not wearing his shoes when he was sitting comfortably at his house. They became yet another casualty of the fire, and his shoes also got burnt in the fire. They became yet another casualty of the fire, so I had to borrow some tennis shoes from my aunt. Why couldn't I just stay home from school? My mother wouldn't hear of it, but I was totally embarrassed by everything. And now, because he had lost his shoes, they got burnt in the fire. He had to borrow one pair of shoes from his aunt. He was feeling much embarrassed with all these things and he did not want to go to school. But his mother did not want him to stay back at home. She wanted him to go to school. The clothes I was wearing looked weird. I had no books or homework and my backpack was gone. So the author says that even his clothes had got weird at that time after the accident, and he had no books or no homework because all his backpacks and shoes and uniform, everything got burnt in the fire. And my backpack was gone. I had my life in the backpack. So his backpack, like all other children, was very important for him. He used to love his backpack, and now it also got burnt in the fire. The more I tried to fit in, the worse it got. Was I destined to be an outcast and a geek all my life? That's what it felt like. So with this accident, now he started thinking that my life is going to run this way only because one after another, in such a tender age, he had to suffer a loss of so many things. First, the loss of his father, then the loss of his house, which got burnt in the fire, then the loss of his lovely cat. So he was feeling much disappointed and depressed. I didn't want to grow up, change, or have to handle life if it was going to be this way. I just wanted to curl up and die. So the author was not wanting to live his life this way. He was no more interested in living or growing up or changing according to the situations, but he just wanted to die. I walked around school like a zombie. Everything felt surreal and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So when he went to school, he walked everywhere like a zombie. Why like a zombie? Because he had no friends over there. Moreover, he had lost his house, he had lost his lovely cat, and he was very much hurt. So he was walking like a zombie, like an emotionless fellow, and was not knowing what is going to happen next. All the security I had known from my old school, my friends, my house, and my cat had all been ripped away. So he used to feel secured with his old school, with his old teachers, with his old friends, his lovely cat, and now everything was taken away from him and he was feeling very strange even in his own life. When I walked through what used to be my house after school that day, I was shocked to see how much damage there was. Whatever hadn't burnt was destroyed by the water and chemicals they had used to put out the fire. And now after school, he went near that old house which got burned. He was amazed to see that every single thing was spoiled. Those things which could not be burnt by fire, they got destroyed by the water and chemicals that were thrown to extinguish the fire. The only material things not destroyed were the photo albums, documents, and some other personal items that my mother had managed to heroically rescue. But my cat was gone, and my heart ached for her. So now the author says that his mother ran into the burning house to bring some photo albums or important documents in a metal box. Only those things were saved, rest all was destroyed. But the most important loss the author was suffering was the loss of his lovely cat, and he was not finding her anywhere, so his heart was paining for his cat. There was no time to grieve. My mother rushed me out of the house. We would have to find a place to live, and I would have to go buy some clothes for school. Now, this was not the time to think about all the things that had lost, but this was the time to think about now what to do next. So his mother brought him out of that burnt house, and now they had to find a new place to live temporarily till the new house gets built up. And he had to buy shoes, uniforms, and everything, whatever was needed to live. We had to borrow money from my grandparents because there were no credit cards, cash, or even any identification to be able to withdraw money from the bank. Everything had gone up in smoke. And now, to buy things from market, they had to borrow some money from his grandparents because all the credit cards, all the cash, or even all the identifications were lost in the fire, such as passbooks and all. So now nothing was left with them. That week, the rubble that used to be our house was being cleared off the lot. Even though we had rented an apartment nearby, I would go over to watch them clear away debris, hoping that my cat was somewhere to be found. She was gone. So, when those people who were to build his new house, when they were clearing off the burnt house, he was every day visiting over there and trying to find out if his cat got burnt, if he was able to find the dead body of his cat over there, but he did not find, and he assumed as if the cat has finally gone forever. I kept thinking about her as that vulnerable little kitten. In the early morning, when I would disturb her and get out of bed, she would tag along after me, climb up my robe, and crawl into my pocket to fall asleep. I was missing her terribly. So what happened that now he started thinking about the time that he had spent with his cat. He remembered those mornings when he used to get out of his bed and she used to sleep with him, and she also used to follow him, and gradually and very slowly she used to get inside his pocket and she used to sleep over there. So he remembered all those moments and started missing her very badly. It always seems that bad news spreads quickly, and in my case it was no different. Everyone in high school, including the teachers, was aware of my plight. I was embarrassed as if somehow I were responsible. What a way to start off at a new school. This was not the kind of attention I was looking for. And now, this bad news of his house being burnt got spread very quickly all around in his new school, and everyone came to know that what tragedy has happened with the author. He did not know anyone. He did not have any companion over there, but everyone came to know, and now he started feeling more embarrassed, more disappointed, because this was not the kind of attention that he wanted from all in his new school. The next day at school, people were acting even more strange than usual. I was getting ready for gym class at my locker. People were milling around me, asking me to hurry up. I thought it strange, but in the light of the past few weeks, Nothing would surprise me. And now, what happened that next day, when he was trying to get ready for his gym class near his locker, he found that all his classmates had gathered around him and they were telling him to hurry up to go somewhere. But because in last few days so many new things had happened to him, even this time he was not surprised that why his classmates are calling him. It almost seemed that they were trying to show me into the gym. Then I saw why. There was a big table set up with all kinds of stuff on it just for me. So in the beginning he thought that maybe they are calling him for the gym class, but then he came to know that why they were calling. Then when he went over there with them, he saw that there was a big table in front of him. And what was on that table? They had taken up a collection and bought me school supplies, new notebooks, all kinds of different clothes, jeans, tops, sweatsuits. It was like Christmas. So he was surprised to see that the whole big table was filled with number of things that he needed to live. That is his school uniform, his clothes, his books, backpack, and so many things they had collected money and had brought for him. He felt as if it was a Christmas day and Santa had brought him so many gifts. I was overcome by emotion, and he became so emotional on seeing this that those people who had not even known him, they were ready to help him in all the ways. People who had never spoken to me before were coming up to me to introduce themselves. I got all kinds of invitations to their houses. And now, he was seeing that people were coming to him, all those new students who had not even known his name, now were coming to him. They were introducing themselves to him and they were giving him invitations to visit them. Their genuine outpouring of concern really touched me. In that instant, I finally breathed a sigh of relief and thought for the first time that things were going to be okay. I made friends that day, and that day only he found that the things are becoming good day by day, and that day he got number of friends. A month later, I was at my house watching them rebuild it. But this time it was different. I wasn't alone. I was with two of my new friends from school. It took a fire for me to stop focusing on my feelings of insecurity and open up to all the wonderful people around me. Now I was sitting there watching my house being rebuilt when I realized my life was doing the same thing. And now, after a month, he was sitting in front of his old house seeing it built again. Now people were building his new house for him, but this time the new thing was that he was not alone. He was with his two of the very good friends that he had got in his new school. And what new thing he was watching was that they were building his new house and he was also building himself for new situations, for new friends, for new environment that was welcoming him. While I sat there on the curb planning my new bedroom, I heard someone walk up to me from behind and say, "Does this belong to you?" When I turned around to see who it was, I couldn't believe my eyes. A woman was standing there holding my cat. I leapt up and grabbed her out of the woman's arms. Now what happened? That when the author was sitting and with his two friends, he was planning that what kind of a bedroom he wanted in his new house. He observed that one lady came from behind and asked him, "Does this belong to you?" So when he turned around, he found that that lady was holding his own lovely cat. And he was extremely happy to see his cat. He held her close to me and cried into that beautiful orange fur. She purred happily. My friends were hugging me, hugging the cat and jumping around. So even the cat was very much happy to come back into his master's hands. And his friends were very happy enjoying his cat. They hugged him, they hugged the cat, and they were all dancing all around him with happiness. Apparently, My cat had been so freaked by the fire that she ran over a mile away. Her collar had our phone number on it, but our phones had been destroyed and disconnected. This wonderful woman took her in and worked hard to find out whose cat it was. Somehow she knew that this cat was lovely, loved, and sorely missed. Now, what happened? Actually, he came to know from the lady that when the fire was there in his home, the cat got frightened and she ran into one direction around 1 mile. And when this lady got the cat, she found on the collar of the cat the phone number of its owner. But she was not able to contact the author and his mother because their phones got destroyed in the fire and they got disconnected. But the lady kept the cat with her in her house and she started searching for the real owner of the cat because she knew that the cat belongs to someone and they must be missing her. As I sat there with my friends and my cat curled up in my lap, all the overwhelming feelings of loss and tragedy seemed to diminish. So, at this moment when he was sitting in front of his new house being rebuilt, with his cat in his lap and with his two good friends, he was feeling that now all the bad feelings of tragedy and whatever loss he had suffered, all those feelings were going away. I felt gratitude for my life, my new friends, the kindness of a stranger, and the loud purr of my beloved cat. And now the author was very much thankful to all those people who had given her a lot of happiness. So who were those people? For his life, because his life itself has brought happiness to him. His new friends, that lady who was so kind to bring back his cat, and his beloved cat. So he was thankful to all. My cat was back and so was I. So his cat had also come back to his life and he was also coming back into his life. So this story tells us that how all of a sudden some tragedy happens to us, but it takes a little time for our life to become normal. So Zan also became happy once again in his life.